the question then of the group of, because I really love what you're saying there, Andrew, is about, we've got that emphasis on proof there. How easy do we find it to prove our business value back to the organization? Love to hear some people to come off mic and let us know, or in the chat, is it something we find easy to prove that value, or is it, how does it go for you? And negative answers are good. Negative answers are just more valuable than, oh, I'm super easy, I nailed it.
I'll contribute to that. I find it very difficult, but I am working towards merging our learning management system data into the same data lake that Salesforce is in. And then once I do that, I may be able to find some correlation causations, maybe, I don't know. But that is my 23 goal, is to get that data together in the same place so I can start seeing whether, the metrics are there. In another chat that I was in, another group, they talked about in our training salespeople, not time to first sale, time to fifth sale, because first sale could be a fluke. First sale could be the last salesperson that had that territory. Time to fifth sale and time to new customer, like somebody that wasn't in the customer bank before and now is. So finding those metrics, and I tell you, there's some pretty engaging conversations about what the metrics should be, but we need to start somewhere, and we need to start getting this data. Are what we doing in training, weeks of salespeople training, this is highly expensive, the most expensive training we do at our company. Is it effective? Is it working? Are they up to speed? Time to fifth sale, time to new customer, time to fifth new customer, right? Like, let's start measuring this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's
not easy though.
It's not easy, but what you've done, Kelly, is shown me how liberating it can be when you can say, actually, what are the sorts of metrics that are important to the organization? Time to fifth sale, customer retention, that type of thing. What's really important to the organization? Let me just track that. And let me just track in parallel what I'm doing. And maybe there'll be something that goes on. And that, to me, can really help us get more familiar with what's going on in the business, and us get curious about whether or not there may be a correlation. I think where we get hung up, Kelly, is we get hung up by needing to prove and isolate the individual contribution that we have made back into the business. And that we don't just get hung up, we get chained. We get so frustrated that we don't even start to have those conversations. And going back to Andrew's point, I'm sorry, I'm so excited about what you're raising this. Going back to Andrew's point, about perception. I just remember doing a work with a major retail outlet over here in the UK, where they did some analysis on, this was so long ago, rolling out credit cards into the organization. And they did some online training with credit cards in the organization. And they just mapped, exactly as you're doing, mapped how many credit cards those or different stores sold. And they happened to see, this was the level of data analysis they did, they happened to see that those that were going more likely to go through the online training credit card were selling more cards. And they happened to just share that back, saying, oh, we've spotted this back into the teams. And that perception value that you were talking about, Andrew, there just rocketed sky high. The engagement with learning rocketed sky high. They didn't need to prove that value. And no one was saying to them, well, how do you know it's you, and how do you know it wasn't the line managers that were promoting the credit cards? It was about, actually, it's enough for me to see that data like hand in hand. So I think, that fact that you're not proving it, you're just curious and you're asking the questions, I think is a really powerful way of operating at the business value end of the spectrum, without being chained by fear of not being able to deliver that causation. So I just want to I want to give you a big round of applause, Kelly, for just saying thank you for being willing
Yeah,
to
for
to
putting
share
yourself
that.
out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd also like to, I
Mm.
saw this interesting comment in the chat
Mm.
from Chet. And Chet, I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind coming off mic to expand on this. You said here, I see learning value as how we do what we do. And I'm not sure our senior leaders care or need to know we're doing that unless they want to know. So I call it hiding the vegetables. So I love that. So I'd love to know more about what you're saying here.
In trying to talk to senior leaders about what we do in L&D, in my experience, a lot of times just seems to either go over their head or they just don't really seem to care or prioritize exactly how we do the work. Like if you were in engineering, like do they don't really want engineers to tell the theory or, you know, all the thought processes and things behind how they did what they did. They just want to know that they made a good product, right? And that they delivered it on time. So how do we have conversations with senior leaders in their language and about the things that they want to talk about, which is typically, I've got a pain point somewhere. We need people to be more bought into the subject or to learn how to do something or something new or different. And that's what we need to address and focus our conversation around that.
I love the analogy then with the hiding the vegetables. I'm just very aware. I'm right now, I'm whispering, I'm at my parents who are not very good at eating right now. And I am hiding those vegetables in and amongst the things that they are very comfortable.
Oh, Laura, thank you so much for explaining it, because Chet mentioned vegetables and before that he mentioned sausage. And I was like, one, I'm hungry now. But two, I am not following this man. I'm like, I love it, but I have no clue. But thank you. Hiding the vegetable. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't hide them. But
you celebrate.
but I feel like, I don't know. So I'm a consultant contractor, so I come in, I'm in there for a bit and then I leave, and a bit can be 3 months to 3 years. But I have always been cranky when people ask me about evaluation. So Kelly, I really appreciate you bringing up your stuff and the kind of markers you're using, especially that they're not immediate, because I feel most of the time the feedback is immediate from the business. And so they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing, or we love this, and people love it. It's always subjective, right? It's always just like, we love it, it's fabulous, blah, blah, blah. Everybody, we go to the LMS, look at how many people did this, and they're all thrilled. And I'm just sitting there going, but did it make a difference? Like, great, I see that people loved that game that I made, wonderful, but and I don't necessarily have ways to see that, or as Kelly's saying, track it over time. And so I just clients always seem happy, and I'm always like, but did we really do what we intended? And sometimes we're talking about this. So here's a perfect example of evaluation in the moment. Accounting wanted, they needed to have their information shared in a different way. So I built a SharePoint site for them and redid, just kind of redid everything. And they were thrilled, but the kind of boss of my team was kind of eye rolling. But we had metrics at SharePoint, and even I was shocked, like the amount of people that were going to this site and using it. So then I got big props because, she was eye rolling, and then it was like, ha ha ha, look at how many people are going there. But I'm like, yeah, are they going there though, just to look at my cute graphics, or are they actually using it? My graphics are really cute, everybody. So, and so I have been cranky about evaluation almost since I started, because I've just never felt that I've either had the time or the right tools, or data gets put up, but I'm even questioning the data, right? Like how many courses completed or how many, which is why I really did appreciate Kelly going like, right, not the first one, but the fifth one, or this time out. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could kind of put something forward to my client like that. Like, I mean, they do over a period of time. Okay, I'm just going to stop now, but you get it. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. I see Bruce's hand. So Bruce, do you want to help with this?
Yeah, I see. So for my team, one of the things that I really push on them, I'm a fairly new leader for the team. I really push on them to, when somebody has any type of a training request, we do one pager, we do, a little bit of everything. I really push on them to understand what the business goal is, not just the learning goal. So if the learning goal is we need them to, usually we need them to understand something, right? First of all, before we dig into better objectives, I really push on them to understand what the business goal is. And I really push on them to always ask, what if we don't do the training? Like, if we don't do the training, are we going to end up with the same business results? And so to really push on, tying what we're going to be doing back into the business goal, whatever that is, there's usually a metric that they're already tracking, or hopefully that they're already tracking that we can tie into. And then is there really a learning goal underneath that? Right before I came on, they were just finishing up a project about notifications, and it was a little training, a little wiki on when a bell notification, what that means and all this. And I'm like, we don't need a training on what a bell notification is. Everybody knows that already. And so really kind of pushing back and protecting our time to do stuff that is impactful to the business. And that if we didn't do it, what would the impact be? So just really digging in on the front end, asking those questions and trying to tie it back to a business goal. So
I love that as well, Bruce, because what you're doing is you're showing that you're coming from the business angle, and even if they push back on you,